What's up, everybody? UberCrit here. I'm Connor. That's Miguel. And we saw Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets.
Yeah.
You know, you're just dead staring at him, man.
I couldn't keep it up. I can't keep a straight face.
As far as the quick out of the way, what did you think?
It was very middle of the road for me.
Middle of the road. I was on the higher end on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's I thought it was. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah,
yeah, good.
Let's say we had kind of a pact to not discuss too much, so that when we have this open discussion here, it'll be fresh.
Yeah, and I guess since I had just the positive, I'll get that out, and then we'll just kind of gradually go into negatives and whatever.
Yeah, that seems good.
So just to start off, Valerian directed, co-produced, and written by Luc Besson, and he also did The Fifth Element, same credits. And I believe it was in the what was it, the behind the scenes thing where he was talking about it. This is the movie he wanted to make back then, but said that there wasn't the technology for it. He didn't have what he needed to make it happen. Which, right off the bat, that was amazing. The graphics and the special effects of this movie. If you're someone who enjoys just seeing movies that look really cool and nice, this is one of them.
Yeah, very strong visually. The motion capture for a lot of the humanoids and, obvious things they didn't have on-screen actors for was just very solid. Looked really smooth, not fake. It didn't look performance-y. Mm-hmm. It did not look like they were exaggerating their motion.
Yeah, looking kind of natural.
It looked very natural.
Especially at the beginning when they showed tons of different races.
Mm-hmm.
It's they show them the previews to an extent, so it's not. We're gonna keep it spoiler free as possible. That was in the previews, though, that they were meeting up with the different races as Valerian is building the opening scenes,
mm-hmm.
which
a lot better than the alien races in Fifth Element.
Oh, yeah. Well, Fifth Element, yeah, it was costumes and stuff, such like that. So, yeah, it was really cool seeing all of them in there. I thought the thing about the film that I liked is it kept me engaged the whole time. Like, it was always flowing forward, and I think it didn't really have this solid, this is the story cohesive going on. It felt kind of like a D&D campaign kind of going around, where it's there's all these little things that all kind of add up to one thing, but whereas it's there were little bits that, as we mentioned, are somewhat spoilers. There was stuff that was okay, that just kind of ended,
Yeah, there was a loose end by the end of the movie.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was it really didn't deal with the entire story.
Right.
It's it was involved, but it wasn't. So it could be a later adventure if they make sequels.
Right.
And it was a loose end, but it wasn't necessary.
Right.
At the same time, so it's like I said, I like the movie, but there are faults with it. But at the same time, it really do you get that though? The D&D campaign idea?
Yeah, I was thinking it felt like an adventure, something that was unfolding,
mm-hmm.
On the spot. Not that it was.
Yeah,
nothing was set in stone.
It felt organic,
right?
So that was a good part about it. It didn't feel like a scripted movie, like you were watching. This is what is happening in this movie story,
mm-hmm.
It's even the interactions between the main characters, it's it just seemed like this was a moment in their lives that you happened to be involved in. It wasn't this is the moment of their lives.
Right.
So I thought it was really good in that sense. It just felt organic. What are some bad things though? What were bad things that stood out to you?
There was a lot of dialogue that was very exposition-y. It was
mm-hmm.
unnecessarily detailed about who people were and whatnot.
See, on that note, I actually I agree that it was. I was actually going to say there was a lot of exposition in it,
mm-hmm.
but at the same time, I enjoyed it because that kind of I like world building and I like exploring all that stuff.
But it was framed wrong.
Uh-huh.
It was framed as if it was the information that the characters needed, not that the audience needed.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the thing is the way the film presented, they did though. Not any everyone was blind to what was going on.
I
to a lot of it at least.
Without spoilers, there was definitely some like drawn out sequences. Like the characters definitely had this information before.
Yeah, like when they visited the Grand Bazaar, there was a couple there.
Yeah,
that was like, yeah. So there's moments where it's like, okay, the characters didn't need to be
introduced to this stuff.
Yeah, like they could have just given it to us.
This is clearly something famous in this world that they would have known about.
Yeah, like it was in the previous, like when the computer was explaining the city to Valerian.
That's exactly what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that one was a little odd because it was like it was telling him, I was like, hasn't he been here?
Right.
Like he's a top, like he wasn't a commander, wasn't he?
He was a major.
He was a major, yeah. So it's like he's major. He goes all around the galaxy, and this is like the hub.
Mm-hmm.
He's definitely had to have been there.
Right.
So it was odd, and if he hadn't been there, the movie didn't make it obvious that he'd never been there.
Right.
It seemed like he had already been there. So, let's see, other things that were odd. I'm trying to remember some of the stuff was like very, very tropey. Like there was like, you know, the beautiful paradise that you just know was gonna get fucked up. It was like, okay, this is too good to even be. And then it was like, you know, powerful woman with an incompetent male who's capable of doing things. It's like,
I wouldn't call him incompetent.
Well, like he was just sort of like,
he had flaws. He was flawed.
Yeah, but it was like that. He really was blind to emotions. Like he wasn't incompetent as in he couldn't fucking do anything. He was very capable. That's what I'm saying. He's like incompetent but capable. Like he was capable of doing all this shit, but he's like didn't have an understanding of its impact to people.
Right. Okay.
So like emotionally incompetent.
Okay.
And then, you know, she was very that like strong female that's like, oh fucking. I don't want to try to say it like derogatory. Like it's not in a derogatory manner, but it's like what Hollywood presents like women as often. Like instead of being like the damsel in distress, she's like always like chipping on the guy in a way. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was justified because he was really being a douche. But that actually brings me to one point before going in. As much as it's like, okay, they're not, but the lead stars, Dane DeHaan and Cara Delevingne.
Delevingne, yeah.
They look very similar.
I don't think so.
I felt that, like, I thought that, Brenda thought that, some other people, it's like, at first it was like, to me they looked like they related, so at first seeing a romance, it was kind of odd, but their actions and the way they acted totally broke that within 10 or 15 minutes. It's like that wall of like, oh, they kind of look similar was gone.
I don't see a resemblance between them personally. Mm-hmm. But I do believe they look very young. I thought they seemed a little miscast, which is weird because Cara Delevingne in Suicide Squad, not a particularly good movie, or if even good at all, but she looked a lot more mature in that movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Cast as Enchantress and as her normal role,
right? Her
alter ego. That kind of appearance would have definitely helped sell the image that she was a military woman.
Yeah, because it's like he's a major and she's one rank. She was
a lieutenant or something.
Yeah, he had 2 stars. She had 1 star.
So she's a captain.
Yeah, and I was like, it depends on the branch of military. Yeah.
Oh, that's right, huh?
So it's like they look like they're in their 20s in the movie, and it just doesn't seem like something. It didn't seem right. It seemed like it should have been older people.
They seemed very young.
Yeah. They seemed young for what was going on. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't. I mean, whatever. It rolled out well.
It's the future.
Yeah.
Which brings me to another thing, actually. There was a lot of disparity between how far into the future it was and what was still popular in culture. Well, you know what I'm saying?
Well, they broke through. Like, they showed, you know, at the very beginning, they showed, like, years going by as they were building the world of the city of 1,000 planets. Like,
I get that, but at the end of that, it says 400 years later, and Laureline is making references to, like, pop culture stuff from today that definitely would not be remembered. It's stuff that was definitely... It was stuff that was obviously for the audience that just doesn't make any sense in the world.
Well, there was a point, the character Bubble, which is Rihanna.
Yeah.
And there was the whole thing where they mentioned he's like classic, and then the classic music was ours, like music from today.
But that doesn't make any sense.
So it's like, well, we still listen to music from, you know, hundreds of years ago.
I suppose that's true, and we call it classical.
Yeah.
But that was 400 years after the however many hundred years it took for all that. Because there were so many generations, it shows all those generations passing as the station is developed.
Well, that's another
and
thing.
And then
like,
it says 400 years after that.
Well, because like we still read books from much older than 400 years ago. They just didn't have the technology. I feel like our music today will still be listened to.
Maybe you're right.
Because technology, you know, it's not like all the books just burned and or thrown away. We still read books that are.
I mean,
oh yeah, there was a lot that were burned. Yeah, historically speaking, yeah, there was a lot that was destroyed. But my point is, yeah, they definitely still kept that same. So I don't know. I didn't see that as a problem. There was a lot of it came as tongue in cheek though.
Right.
Like so certain scenes, like Bob Marley playing at one scene. It was funny. I mean, I think it's a movie thing for the audience.
It was absolutely for the audience,
and but it came off as nice. Like I don't know, the whole time I was watching the movie, it gave me a sort of like, this is fun, it's an adventure, and I'm like, I was just enjoying it. It wasn't like this is absolutely amazing. I don't know if it's going to be a long-lasting like thing like Fifth Element, where it has that like cult hit with it.
Right. I don't expect it
I
to.
definitely want to see it again. Because there was so much going on, like maybe see more going on in it. Because there was a lot to like take in, like you said, with all that exposition going on.
Right.
But it's like I don't know if I would end up going as one of my favorite movies. It wasn't like knockout, like fuck yeah, that was the best movie ever. But it's definitely like that's a nice movie. Like I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Yeah. Like any other negatives or points you'd like to make?
It's not necessarily negative, but there were no points in the movie where I was like, oh yeah, awesome, that was a good scene, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Other than, like, I was admiring a lot of the CG and the motion capture. Like, visually, it was great.
Yeah, the characters basically did what you expected them to do. They didn't, like, break the mold or, like...
Right.
Like, there was never, like, a fuck yeah moment, like, you finally did it or anything.
There was... Are we doing that? Are we just letting loose?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. We don't care. It's like we've already described in our channel that we're not clean spoken.
Okay.
So yeah, but it's like there was nothing that let me down. There was like they said, there's a couple loose ends, but they weren't like they weren't important enough to like totally ruin the experience or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
It wasn't like jarring about like stuff that happened.
And I can't remember a scene where it was like there was something obvious for the characters to do that wasn't being done. Yeah. Like a lot of times in horror movies or anything like that.
Oh, yeah. That's one reason why I hate horror films.
Mm-hmm.
Is it's like they do stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there was nothing nonsensical about the characters' actions. That was fine. The dialogue wasn't too like scripty. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I was saying. Like it just felt organic.
It seemed casual enough. Yeah, organic. Not casual, but yeah, organic. That's a good word.
I think if I was giving it a grade, it would be somewhere around an A- to a B+ for me. Like right around there. I don't know if I would. It's like maybe like I feel like if I saw it again, I'd have the definition of which one it would be. Like if it's more towards the negative end. I feel like more towards the A- though, because like I said, I just enjoyed it. There was never I watched the movie. I was happy watching it. The music was great. I loved the whole soundtrack. Like it was fun. It like, especially just opening with David Bowie. That was fun.
That's pretty good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think the whole movie just kind of kept me along and kept me happy the whole way through.
That's fair. In a letter grade sense, C+, B- area. Like I'm trying to go for an average. Like there was nothing amazing about it other than visuals. It didn't.
Maybe the visuals bump you up to the B-.
Yeah,
because the visuals were.
That's fair.
The visuals were top notch.
It was very well made.
Like as far as visuals, like I said, if you like watching just visuals, like some people are like that. I mean, a lot of Michael Bay films that are bad got through because people just like seeing really cool looking stuff.
Yeah, nothing looked out of place. The costuming, the practical effects, the digital effects, all of it melded together very well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nothing looked like, oh, they handed this to the intern to do.
Yeah, and there was none of the feeling of, oh, they're filming this in a 20-foot by 20-foot box.
Right.
There was none of that feel. It was like, okay, it felt expansive and moving, so pretty good.
That's fair. That's good.
Yep, that's our review of Valerian and the City of 1,000 Worlds, and I hope you enjoyed.
The custom rating, like just a rating, it was
was
good.
I'd be like, I wouldn't be like 2 thumbs up, motherfucker. No, I'd be like, I'd say go see it. I enjoyed it. Yeah. So, yeah. See you all later. Hope you enjoyed.
Deuces.
What's up, guys? Connor here with a quick message from one of our sponsors. If you're a fan of anime, cults, the Illuminati, hentai, or maybe you just like cool, fun, and interesting t-shirts, check out Dark Matter Clothing. They have a neat selection of designs, and if you use the promo code UberCrit, then you'll get 5% off your purchase. Check out the link below for more details.